Harper Audio presents After Her by Joyce Maynard. This is the author. For Laura Gadini Zariance and Janet Gadini Cubley, also for Martha and for Dana. This is not their story, but their story inspired this one. And in memory of Detective Robert Gadini, Marin County homicide. Epigraph. Come a little closer, huh? Close enough to look in my eyes, Sharona. From My Sharona by Douglas Feiger and Burton Avere. #1 single by the Knack, 1979. Prologue. A little over 30 years ago, on a June day just before sunset, alone on a mountain in Marin County, California, a man came toward me with a length of piano wire stretched between his hands, and the intention of ending my days. I was 14 years old, and many others had already died at his hands. I carry the knowledge of what it is to look into a man's eyes and believe his face is the last thing I will ever see. I have my sister to thank that I am here to tell what happened that day. 2 times it was my sister who saved me, though I was not able to do the same for my sister. This is our story. Nothing much ever happened on the mountain where we lived growing up, and we didn't get cable. We were always hoping for a little excitement, so my sister and I made up situations. All we had was time. One day, we decided to see what it felt like to be dead. If a person's dead, they don't feel anything, Patty said. This was Patty for you. I had a red sweatshirt, the kind with a zipper up the front, and a hood and pockets to keep gum. I spread it on a patch of grass on the hillside behind our house, with the sleeves stretched out as if they were a person who'd been run over by a truck, the hood off in a different direction, so as much of the red part showed as possible, like a pool of blood. Lie there, I told my sister, pointing to a spot in the middle over the zipper part. She might disagree, but Patty nearly always did what I told her. If she had questions, she kept them to herself. I lay down next to her, close enough so plenty of the red part showed on either side of our bodies. Now what? Don't move. Don't let your chest go up and down when you breathe. Some people would have asked for an explanation, but not Patty. Letting her find out in her own time was part of my idea, and she understood this. For a long time, nothing happened. It was hot that day, but we just lay there. My nose itches, she said. Never mind, I told her. Just think about something else, something interesting. For me at the time, that would mean Peter Frampton, or the jeans I'd seen at the mall a couple of weeks earlier that were perfect in every way except the price. And the notebooks I wrote in, where I made up stories I'd read to my sister that she said were better than Nancy Drew. For Patty, it would be Larry Bird executing a hook shot, or some dog she liked, which would be any dog that ever lived. Did you notice that cloud, she said? It's shaped like a dachshund. Quiet. Who knew how much time passed? 10 minutes, an hour, possibly? Then I spotted it, a vulture, circling above our heads, first 1, then 2 more. They were high up still, but it was plain from where they'd positioned themselves that we were the target. The place they were circling was directly over the spot where we lay. What now? Patty asked me. Shush, be still. 2 more birds joined the others. The circle was getting tighter, as if they were zeroing in. They were coming lower, too, closer to our bodies. What if they try to peck our eyes out? No answer from me. Getting the vultures to spot us was the whole point. My sister should know this, and basically did. The vultures were swooping lower now, dive-bombing, making this terrible shrieking sound. They were closing in around us, shrieking not so much at Patty and me from the sound of it as at one another. They were fighting over who would get to eat our eyeballs, probably. Then came one final shriek, not from one of the nearest birds, but one we hadn't noticed until now, a little farther off but zeroing in. He sailed down toward us, body like an arrow, beak and talons aimed at our faces. I didn't have to tell my sister what to do. We jumped up screaming, running down the mountain toward our house. No time to claim my sweatshirt even, though later, when the birds were gone, we'd return for it, out of breath and holding each other, screaming. A person could scream as loud as she wanted on that.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?